If you're trying to decide whether the DJI Pocket 4 is worth upgrading to from the Pocket 3, you're not alone, and you're also asking the wrong question. Because right now, this isn't about which camera is better. The Pocket 4 hasn't even officially launched yet. What we do have is something almost as important: real images, real packaging, and a very clear picture of where DJI is taking this product line. And once you understand that, the upgrade decision becomes a lot simpler. Before we go any further, let's set expectations properly. The Pocket 4 is not released yet. There are no full reviews, no final firmware impressions. What we're working with is a finished retail box, confirmed physical design, and a handful of specs that are almost certainly locked. That alone tells us this camera is very close, and also tells us exactly what DJI thinks matters right now. So let's start with the thing everyone notices first: image quality. If you were hoping the Pocket 4 would dramatically outperform the Pocket 3 in pure image quality, that's probably not happening. Everything we've seen points to the same 1-inch sensor carrying over. That means the look of the footage, dynamic range, low light behavior, color response will be very similar. This is the reason so many people immediately dismiss the Pocket 4 as boring. But here's the first important reframe. DJI did not design the Pocket 4 to win a spec comparison against the Pocket 3. They designed it to remove friction, and friction is where the real differences start to show. One of the biggest confirmed changes is battery life. The Pocket 4 is expected to use a battery around 1,545 milliampere hours compared to roughly 1,300 milliampere hours in the Pocket 3. That's about a 20% increase. On paper, that doesn't sound dramatic, but real-world use tells a very different story. If you've ever filmed long handheld clips, vlogs, travel days, or events with the Pocket 3, especially at 4K and high frame rates, you know how quickly battery anxiety creeps in. A 20% increase doesn't just mean more minutes, it means fewer compromises. It means fewer decisions about whether to hit record. It means less reliance on power banks and less mental overhead while shooting. If you mostly shoot short clips, social content, or quick B-roll, you may never feel this difference. But if you shoot continuously, that battery bump alone could change how confident you feel using the camera. Now let's talk about controls, because this is where DJ Day and I quietly fixed one of the Pocket line's biggest complaints. The Pocket 4 adds a dedicated physical zoom button and a new customizable function button. This sounds small until you've used a Pocket camera for any length of time. On the Pocket 3, zooming relies heavily on touchscreen gestures. That works, but it's not elegant. It interrupts framing, pulls attention away from the shot, and makes smooth zooming harder than it needs to be. A physical zoom button changes that completely. It allows intentional framing adjustments without touching the screen. It turns zoom into a tool instead of a workaround. And while we still don't know exactly how the zoom will behave in every mode, the fact that DJI gave it a dedicated button tells us they expect people to use it a lot. The customizable button is just as important. DJI clearly labels it as user assignable, which tells us this is about speed, not settings. Things like gimbal recentering, switching follow modes, or locking exposure. These are actions you want instantly without menu diving. This is DJI designing for muscle memory. And that's a big shift from how earlier Pocket models felt. If you shoot one-handed, vlog while walking, or rely on instinct rather than menus, this matters. If you're already comfortable tapping through screens on the Pocket 3, it may feel like a nice extra rather than a necessity. The body itself is also slightly longer. That's not an aesthetic choice. It ties directly to battery capacity and grip balance. It's the kind of change you don't notice in photos, but you feel after 30 or 40 minutes of handheld use. Again, not exciting, but very intentional. Now let's pause for a moment and talk about something that doesn't show up on spec sheets at all: timing. The Pocket 4 cleared regulatory approvals just before new DJI restrictions took effect in the United States. That means this model is approved, documented, and ready to be sold. That's not just a technicality, it's a strategic constraint. It explains why the Pocket 4 looks conservative. It explains why DJI didn't gamble on radical hardware changes, and it explains why there's still so much uncertainty around potential Pocket 4 Pro. Right now, there is no confirmed FCC filing for a Pro model. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean it never will, but it does mean waiting comes with risk, especially depending on where you live. If you're the kind of user who values certainty, long-term availability, and accessory support, the Pocket 4 represents stability. So let's bring this back to the actual question. Who should upgrade? If you already own a Pocket 3, are satisfied with its battery life, comfortable with touchscreen controls, and primarily care about image quality, there is no urgent reason to upgrade. The Pocket 3 remains an excellent camera. DJI hasn't invalidated it, and the Pocket 4 doesn't replace it in terms of raw output. If, however, you regularly shoot long sessions, find the Pocket 3's battery limiting, want physical controls, or prefer operating the camera without constantly touching the screen, the Pocket 4 starts to make a lot of sense, even without a new sensor. And if you're buying your first Pocket camera, the choice becomes simpler. The Pocket 4 isn't revolutionary, but it's more refined. It's designed to reduce friction, not chase headlines. It's built for consistency rather than surprise. The mistake many people are making right now is treating this as a competition between two cameras. It's not. The Pocket 4 doesn't replace the Pocket 3, it tightens the experience around it. It's an evolution focused on how people actually shoot, not how specs look in a comparison chart. And until the Pocket 4 officially launches, that's the most honest way to think about it. Because sometimes the best upgrade isn't the one that looks impressive on paper, it's the one that quietly gets out of your way. And that same philosophy actually shows up in something else DJI has coming very soon, the Avatar 360. Just like the Pocket 4, the Avatar 360 hasn't officially launched yet, but the pattern is familiar. Real leaks are circulating, pricing details are already out there, and most importantly, it's FCC approved. That tells us this isn't a concept or a long-term roadmap product. It's close. What's interesting is that both the Pocket 4 and the Avatar 360 are showing up in leaks at the same time, and both look surprisingly restrained for DJI. No wild redesigns, no headline-grabbing specs, instead refinement, stability, and market readiness. So which one launches first? If you look at the signals, the Pocket 4 feels like the safer, earlier release. It's simpler logistically, aimed at a broader audience, and already positioned as a continuation of an existing line with minimal friction. It's the kind of product DJI can release quietly, globally, and without risk. The Avatar 360, on the other hand, is more complex. It targets a narrower audience, involves airspace regulations, bundled accessories, and a more sensitive pricing conversation. Even though it's approved, DJI may want more breathing room before pushing that one out. That doesn't mean it's far away, just that DJI may choose to stagger these launches instead of competing with itself. And that's really the theme tying all of this together. Whether it's Pocket 4 or Avatar 360, DJI right now isn't chasing spectacle. They're prioritizing products that can launch cleanly, legally, and reliably in a market that's becoming less forgiving. Sometimes the most important launches aren't the loud ones. They're the ones that arrive quietly, core, and simply work. That is for today, and I will see you in the next one.